And today I am ranking the most common battle games that I have played in the LARPs of Amtgard, Daggerhear, and Bellegarth. Let's get to it. So when you play these boffer LARPs, you're going to play games on a fairly regular basis. Some of these games can just be like one-on-one spars or 5-on-5 team fights, but most of the time they're going to be actual game modes. Capture the flag. These are going to be team deathmatch. There's going to be an objective. Personally, I love these games. I think they're a lot of fun. And today I am ranking all of the most common ones that I've played over the last few years. So if you've seen any of my other ranking videos, this one's going to work very similarly. I'm going to break down a few of the different games that I play on a regular basis and throw them into my ranking. Up here at the very top is S. These are the best games, best of the best, peak of what it means to play battle games at a LARP. A, these are the ones that are really good. These are the ones that I love playing. They're not quite my absolute favorite, but anytime these games come up at an event or at a game or at a practice, I'm going to play them. B is kind of my baseline. These are fine. They're okay. We'll play them, but they're not my favorite, but I don't dislike them at all either. C, these are the ones that I don't like that much, but I'll play just if I feel like it, but I'm not gung-ho for C. D tier games, these are the ones that I'm just not going to play. Like, I'm going to sit out. I'm going to pass on these. Not a huge fan of these. So let's start with Capture the Flag. Capture the Flag, very easy, very basic. One of the reasons I like it so much is because it's easy for new players to pick up. If you have a new player come out and they have no idea, they never LARPed before, make sure you play Capture the Flag. It's something easy that they're going to understand, and I'm going to put it in the A tier. The reason for this, I think it's fun. I think it's fast-paced. I think it is a concept that everyone's going to be able to understand and keep up with. Just overall, a very, very fun game mode. Not top tier. It's not one that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to this event specifically because they're playing Capture the Flag, which is what my S tier games are for me. But I enjoy Capture the Flag. Next up, we have node capture. Now, node capture is similar to Capture the Flag, but generally in Capture the Flag, you have to go and grab a flag and bring it back somewhere. Node capture there's at least one, most of the time multiple, 3, 4, 5 nodes that you need to capture. These can be like castles, these can be buildings, they can be flags, whatever it is. And you have to hold them for a specific amount of time. And then every so often you'll get a point for how many nodes that you control. I like this one a lot too. This one goes into A for me also. I like it because it's similar to Capture the Flag, and the things that make Capture the Flag great, node capture is great for also. But then it adds an element of strategy that Capture the Flag doesn't always have, because you've got the multiple different things you got to be paying attention to. Overall, node capture, really fun. Next up, we have King of the Hill. I've seen King of the Hill played a bunch of different ways. You can do it. You pick a spot on the map and you get points for holding this particular spot on the map. And it can be like 1v1, 2v2, 10v10. There are a bunch of different rules and variations that you can do with it. For me, King of the Hill goes into C tier. I'm just not a huge fan. It's fairly basic. It's fairly but not in a good way. Like, Capture the Flag is basic because any new player can get it. King of the Hill is like basic just because it's boring. I'm not a fan of hold the point for as long as you can type of games. Next up, we have MOBA games. Now, this is something that's some of you might not be super familiar with, but there are games out there called League of Legends and Dota. MOBAs is the genre. It's a video game. And essentially it is a 3-laned game mode where there's a central lane that goes straight, and then there are 2 side lanes that kind of make angles like a diamond, and you're trying to get some sort of objective from one point to the other, or a capture point. There are a bunch of different ways that go into this. For me, MOBA goes in B tier. The reason being, personally, I really enjoy MOBA games. I think that they are a ton of fun. I enjoy as a player participating in them. They are incredibly, incredibly complicated though. And because they're such big spread out games, they require a ton of referees or reeves or heralds, whatever your game calls them. And these games can get real messy real quick. And because of that, I put them in B tier. They're super fun if they're well executed, but a bad MOBA game is not good, and they're kind of hard for new players to get into. I know I'm going to make some people upset with this one. Quests for me go in D tier. I know that quests are a thing that bring a lot of people to LARP. They love the role playing aspect. They love the getting in character and going out and slaying monsters and doing the puzzles and all sorts of those type of things. And for me, that is just not the main reason I enjoy LARPing. I enjoy the competition part of it. I enjoy the fighting, the arts and science, some of the off-field stuff. But the questing in character type of games, for me, I'm going to pass on most of those. Surprisingly, though, our next one is puzzle mechanic games. I'm actually going to move those up. Now, you might be thinking, but hey, puzzle mechanics are a big part of quests, and they are. But I really enjoy battle games that use puzzle mechanics to win, where it's not just my 10 versus your 10, and whoever kills the most people wins, but instead games where you have to go and collect multiple things and bring them back and do some sort of objective, where you have to go out and maybe grab all of the keys and bring them back to your chest and find out which key specifically fits into the chest to open it up, and then that gives you, your instructions for how you win the game or whatever. I like those a lot because it adds in a strategic element that you have to pay attention to while you're fighting, and it really adds a lot of fun to it. The downside, why I don't have this up higher though, is because sometimes these can be way too complicated. There are a lot of players who just want to show up and hit people, and that's fine. And they don't care about all the puzzle mechanics. And if no one on your team is caring about puzzle mechanics, the game really isn't fun. So I kind of put it B tier, pretty base for me. All right, next up we have Ring the Bell. Now, Ring the Bell is a game, let's see if I can fit these up a little closer. Ring the Bell is a game where essentially you have two teams and there is a bell at either team's base. You win by running up and smacking the other team's bell. This bell can be a physical bell, it can be a shield on the ground, it can be a tree, it can really be anything. You're just trying to get there and hit it. Ring the Bell for me goes in A tier games. It's one of those simple, easy to explain, everyone understands it. You jump in and you go type of games. You can rotate teams up pretty regularly. You can play it with full classes if you're playing Amp Guard, or you can just play it with DAG Bell rules, and it's still a super fun game. Overall, Ring the Bell's pretty good. Next up for me, we have Team Deathmatch. Now, Team Deathmatch, if you're played any sort of online game, you understand this. My team over here, your team over there. Maybe we put some obstacles up in the middle. We fight. Sometimes you have 1 life. Sometimes you might have 5 lives. We just kind of go, make up the rules as you go type of thing. For me, Team Deathmatch goes in C tier. It's easy to explain. New players understand it, which is good. But for me, I personally like my games to have a little bit more nuance to it and a little bit bigger of a goal than just kill people. That's fun sometimes, but that can get really old really quickly. And so Team Deathmatch for me is, it's fine. I guess I'll play it, but it's not one that I'm looking forward to. It's not one that man, if this event, this week-long event has this game mode, I'm going to make sure I can get there. That's not Team Deathmatch for me. It is, however, these next two, and I'll put them up here, and then we'll go through them a little bit. For me, these are the best type of games in the entire game. I love them so much. First up, we have castle battles. Now, castle battles can take a bunch of different forms. Sometimes these are actual physical castles, which are a blast. Those are some of the most fun. But even if you don't have a physical castle and you're just using like PVC walls, or you're using lawn tape, or you're using spray paint, and you're spraying out on the ground the castle that you're going to be participating in, it's fun even in those situations. And essentially what castle battles are, you have an offensive team and a defensive team, and you're going to fight out. There's some sort of objective, whether it's get in the castle, or whether, capture the prince or the princess, or whether it's just annihilate, whatever it is. But then after you play through that round, you give them a break and then you flip-flop. And so the team that was on the offense is now on the defense. And it changes the strategy up completely for the game. And so a strategy that works in round 1 might not always work in round 2. And I love being able to have that further objective to strategize around. Incredibly fun. And then we have bridge battles, my absolute favorite game mode of anything I've ever played. I love just a good bridge. So imagine a 100-yard bridge, 50-yard bridge, however wide you want, or however long you want to make it. It is 3 to 4 people wide, shoulder width, right? 15, 20 feet, something like that. My team spawns on one end of the bridge, your team spawns on the other end of the bridge. In the middle of the bridge, there's a 100-pound sandbag. You win by getting that sandbag to the other side of the bridge. When you die, you go back to your side of the base, you count to 15, 30, whatever the game rule is, come back alive, and it's a meat grinder that forces you to be able to push and pull and be able to save your energy for when you need it. It is just so much fun. I absolutely love bridge battles. So let me take a look here. Let's look over, see if I want to move any of these around. I don't think I do. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good with this. So there's my battle game tier list. I would love to hear your comments down below. What games are your favorite to play? What games do you hate? Do you think my list is kind of crazy up and down? What would you move around? If you're interested in more rankings like this, check the card up above. I have a bunch of different rankings on my video for a variety of different topics related to LARP. My name is St. Godric. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button if you like this video, and we'll see you next time.